Hello, I'm Major Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we take a look at the highlights here across the region for the next 7 to 10 days, we'll be first watching the storm system making its way from west to east across the area Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, bringing scattered thunderstorm chances, as well as some severe weather opportunities, and what could be the last chance for some significant rainfall for some across the central and the eastern Corn Belt for the next 7 to 10 days. We'll need to talk about the tropical system remnants that are starting to make waves here across the region, with the European model coming in with a track that brings it through the Corn Belt. We'll have to talk about why we're not sold on that just at this point, and what the other possible solutions are and what the impact could be across the Corn Belt overall, and why that tropical system matters as we get into early to middle next week. Because we're going to be returning to a warmer, a hot, and a dry pattern across a big chunk of the Corn Belt as a ridge sets back in on the backside of this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday storm system, bringing, again, another round of hot and dry weather. So precipitation sneaking in underneath that ridge would certainly be good news for whoever did receive that rainfall, and that's, again, why we need to kind of talk about the uncertainty there. The last 24 hours, though, we saw showers and storms during the day on Monday across parts of the central and the northern plains. This is related to that storm system that's making its way eastward across the Corn Belt as we head through the middle part of the week. The jet stream on Tuesday morning right now, here is our trough. That is the storm system that's bringing the showers and storms. And then over to the east, we've got our ridge that's kept us hot across the central and the eastern Corn Belt over the last 4 to 5 days. As we head through the next 48 hours, by Thursday, this trough shifts off to the east. And behind it, we've got a ridge building back into first the western U.S., but then eventually overtaking much of the central United States, bringing us back to a hot and dry pattern across a big chunk of the Corn Belt as we head into the late part of the week, the weekend, and early next week. Now, the satellite picture here on Tuesday morning as the sun first comes up, our main upper level system is well back to the northwest, but we've got this kind of lead wave that's making its way through parts of Iowa and Missouri. We'll play this one more time. You can kind of see a subtle circulation in it right there. Right now bringing some showers and storms across the area, which then could reignite along the Mississippi River as we head into the late afternoon and evening hours on Tuesday into Tuesday night, and eventually Wednesday morning, again bringing some scattered showers and storms ahead of that main system in this area, where of course we expect the heavier precipitation to be more in this corridor, watching for some isolated storms off to the east. The radar picture on Tuesday morning, obviously the widespread storms across the central and the northern plains. Here is the circulation with the main upper level low. We'll play this one more time, and you can see that kind of lead wave making its way right there through parts of Iowa and Missouri. You saw the storms die out. Let's play one more time. You see them kind of fade, but I've talked about this in some of my past videos. Sometimes kind of the ghost of that storm complex lives on. And as I play this one more time, you can kind of track it here. Oh, I'm way off on my drawing there. But you can see it kind of die out. Let's do it one more time. Making its way across here, and they fade out, but we know that there's kind of some upper level energy left with this, and again, that's why we'll be watching for possibly the reigniting of some showers and storms along the Mississippi River here across parts of eastern Iowa, eastern Missouri, western Illinois, Tuesday evening into the overnight hours. Dew points go for a bit of a roller coaster right here. I wanted to show that. We've enjoyed some milder, less humid air across parts of the eastern Corn Belt and the Great Lakes here over the last 24 to 48 hours. But we're going to watch that resume, or the humidity resume, and move back in here in advance of this approaching storm system. Play this out. You see those deep red colors move back in, and then watch the front come in from the northwest right there. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, a slow west to east progression, but if you live in parts of, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, you're enjoying kind of a crisp morning. We'll see those humidity levels really ramp up Tuesday afternoon and evening, and then especially during the day on Wednesday, a very hot and humid day, prime for thunderstorm development, and then Thursday, going to be very mild and pleasant again with lower humidity values on the backside of that storm system. So let's watch the high-resolution rapid refresh model, the HRRR model here, take us through the next 24 hours or so. And that's going to show you, again, the more widespread thunderstorm activity off to the north, but then again, watch parts of this area here for scattered storms developing Tuesday afternoon and evening. So here we go into the afternoon now on Tuesday. We'll play this one more time. You see those storms developing across parts of Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois, the widespread activity across the Dakotas and the upper Midwest, and then also watching for the development of some isolated strong storms across parts of the Dakotas into the central plains. This will be late Tuesday into Wednesday morning. The high-resolution NAM model, now we'll get to that one. We're looking at instability on the right. So the fuel for those thunderstorms, the hot and humid air mass on the left side, On the right side, we're looking at the precipitation forecast, and let's go ahead and we'll play this out. And you're going to be able to see this front very well defined by the instability forecast. Let's jump back to Tuesday now. We'll watch again. Here's the remnants of that lead wave making its way across the Missouri Valley here Tuesday morning. And then this model as well, the high-resolution NAM model, developing some isolated thunderstorms along the Mississippi River here from, anywhere from Wisconsin to the Missouri and Illinois border. But then it's as we head into Wednesday mid-afternoon, that's when we really see this front well-defined from the Central Plains into the Great Lakes. You see the strong cutoff, the very warm colors there, or very hot, humid air mass, high instability, and that's where we expect those thunderstorms to develop along that front Wednesday afternoon and evening, with the chance for some of those storms to become severe. As we head through the next 24 hours or so, this thing moves off to the east, and by the time we get to Thursday, that front now well off to the east, impacting parts of the eastern Corn Belt here, anywhere from Ohio into the mid-south of Kentucky and Tennessee, but drying out on the backside across the remainder of the Corn Belt. The high-resolution NAM model precipitation forecast, you can watch it go from west to east there, with the heavier precipitation beginning across the northern plains into the Dakotas. Let's stop this and go ahead through time. Again, you can watch it now Tuesday. Again, with those isolated storms possible across this region, with more widespread, heavier precipitation lingering back to the northwest with the main upper-level low. As we head through Wednesday morning now, into Wednesday evening, now we're seeing more widespread storms developing along that front in parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, parts of Wisconsin, and southern Michigan. Perhaps seeing some of those strong thunderstorms on Wednesday afternoon and evening. And as we head into the day on Thursday, that's shower and storm threat begins to move off to the east. You can follow the storm system from west to east with the severe weather outlooks here from the Storm Prediction Center. Here is Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday. So here today, Tuesday afternoon and evening, the higher severe weather threat going to be found up in the northern plains, where the upper level low is. And by the time we get to Wednesday, that front moving through the Great Lakes into the mid-Mississippi Valley, that severe weather threat going to be greatest in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois, perhaps into northern Indiana during the later part of the day on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we shift off to the east into parts of the far eastern Corn Belt, the mid-south, and the northeast region. Where are we headed after that? Well, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the European long-range model here, and we'll take a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies. So we start off on Tuesday morning. Here is our trough, the storm system that brings the rain and thunderstorm chances from west to east Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The ridge off to the east that's kept us warm up to this point. We're going to play this out here as we get into Wednesday now. This trough is making its way through the Great Lakes in the mid-Mississippi Valley. That's why we've got the severe weather threat across the central Corn Belt on Wednesday. Thursday, this thing shifts off to the east. That's why now our best storm chances are across Ohio into the mid-south and parts of the northeast region. And on the back side of that, we're beginning to build that ridge back in. That is a hot and a dry pattern across the Corn Belt. And I know your attention's being drawn to what's going on in the Gulf now, moving into the Gulf Coast states. That is the remnants of a tropical system that is expected to develop over the next 48 hours in the Gulf of Mexico. The European operational model, the European runs an ensemble with many different runs, and we've got one operational model right now that's bringing this thing into the Corn Belt. We'll play this out as far as I let it go here through Tuesday morning, taking this system northward into parts of the Corn Belt. But it's only one solution here amongst many differing solutions. So we got to talk about this and what the impact could be, but we have to talk about it knowing that there's just extreme uncertainty within this. And Eric and I are both kind of joking about it this morning that it's got a high impact on the Corn Belt, but there's high uncertainty on whether or not we're going to see benefits or negative impacts from that. With the ridge building back in, you're going to notice here we get temporary cool down on the backside of this thing. Again, kind of a one-day reprieve from the heat and humidity on the backside of the storm system for each of us. So as we go through the day on Tuesday, Tuesday is your cooler day here in the northern plains on the backside of that storm system. We get into Wednesday now with the front moving through a bit cooler in parts of the central Corn Belt, parts of the Dakotas into Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Thursday going to be the cooler day in the central and eastern Corn Belt on the backside of that. That cold front moving through, a cool front, like I should say, in July, but a little bit cooler and less humid during the day on Thursday from Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana. And then as we get into the day on Friday, that's when we'll see the cool down here in parts of the eastern Corn Belt from Illinois into Ohio. But as we head into the weekend and into the early part of next week, heat really does return across the entire Corn Belt with that ridge setting back in. So a hot and dry pattern moving back in as we head into the weekend and early next week across the Corn Belt. And we look at the 12-hour or 24-hourly precipitation from the European model, and we'll go ahead and we'll watch this thing track from west to east, focusing on the storm system in the northern plains to start off. We go through Tuesday, and now Wednesday, we're seeing that thunderstorm threat across the mid-Mississippi Valley into the Great Lakes. We get to the day Thursday, this shifts off to the east now from Ohio into the mid-south. And then as we head into the weekend, you're seeing much drier on the backside, maybe a little front bringing some storms to parts of the northern plains and the upper Midwest here over the weekend. But by and large, across the central plains into the central and eastern Corn Belt, shifting to a hot and dry pattern. And now I know you're noticing again, here comes the European model with that thing lifting northward. And we're going to talk about it, and we'll look at this same plot here in just a moment. But overall, I do want to highlight the pattern here, the GFS ensemble model, keeping that corridor of the heavier precipitation off to the north, which is seasonally appropriate as the jet stream lifts north with time, heading into the middle of July. We should see this happening with drier conditions overall across the central and the eastern Corn Belt, shifting to a hot and dry pattern. Now here's the map from the National Hurricane Center, showing where the region that they're watching here as we head through the middle part of the week for the development of this storm system, or this tropical storm system as it moves off to the west. We've got an area of high pressure now across the Atlantic right now with steering flow like this, and that is kind of what they're expecting, or what the European model right now is at least latching onto, with this thing kind of drifting to the west before curving off to the north, potentially making its way into parts of the Corn Belt. Now, the GFS and what some of the other European model ensemble members are picking up on is this other area of high pressure, this other ridge off to the west over the western and the central U.S., again with clockwise flow around that. And this, the impact here, if this were the dominant feature off to the west, keeps this thing south, has it make landfall and stall out across parts of Texas, which would be bad news for them as well. But what I've done is I put in here the European model, the spaghetti plot here. So we're looking at each ensemble model or ensemble member within the European long-range model and its handling of the track of the center of low pressure with this tropical remnant. So we've got it developing down here. And check out the spread. Here's the southern solution. This is where we've got it stalling out over Texas and kind of raining out in that area. Here's the dream solution in the Corn Belt, with it lifting into parts of Missouri and Illinois, bringing a lot of beneficial rainfall to the central and eastern Corn Belt. But then we've also got the possibility here that this thing really curves hard off to the east and makes its way off south of the Corn Belt. So this would be the good solution in the Corn Belt. This, not so good, not so good. And this is a huge spread. Let me go ahead and take these drawings off here, but check this out. I mean, it's 7 to 10 days out, so this is to be expected, but it would be extremely irresponsible of me to just show you the operational run of the European model right now, bringing all this precipitation into the Corn Belt without letting you know that that is but one solution from this model that does, have an ensemble spread that is extremely large, taking it anywhere from the coast of Texas or lifting it northward and taking it all the way off through the Carolinas. If this happens, we're hot and dry in the Corn Belt. If this happens, we're hot and dry in the Corn Belt. If this happens, sure, we get some rain. This is wonderful. This is beneficial rainfall anywhere from Missouri, Illinois, Indiana into the mid-south. But again, here, no. It's got to be this perfect solution, which sure the European operational run right now is showing, but this is liable to flip here again over the next 24 to 48 hours. And so it's something that I'm letting you know is out there. I'm mentioning it, but I'm not really giving you much guidance here. That you're going to have to check back on Thursday and Friday with Eric's update on Thursday, my Corn Belt update on Friday. Hopefully we'll have a better idea, but I want to show you it's out there, but I don't want to do it without showing you the extremely uncertain forecast that goes along with it. So here it is. Here's the European ensemble, the European operational run, lifting this thing into the Corn Belt, bringing all kinds of beneficial rainfall. But remember, we got solutions that say, nah, it does this. We have solutions that say, nope, it's going to do this. And then we've got this one dream solution coming out right now that lifts it right into the Corn Belt. So let's watch it together over the next 24 to 48 hours. By the time we get to Thursday and Friday, we'll actually have a storm system that we can kind of model. And at this point, the storm system hasn't even developed. And so we're trying to kind of extrapolate out where this thing could track before it exists. Really trying to predict the future here and just letting you know that, if this thing lifts in here as we head into a hot, dry pattern, this would be fantastic across the Corn Belt. But if it doesn't, it's just going to be really hot and dry conditions across the Corn Belt underneath that ridge overall. We'll finish up with a look at the high pressure or the high temperatures over the next 5 days. And again, we can kind of watch this first storm system track across the region as we do so. Warming back up across a big chunk of the Corn Belt Tuesday. Here are your Wednesday high temps. Cooler on the backside of the storm system across the Dakotas and the upper Midwest. As we get into Thursday, now we're cooling off across parts of the Great Lakes and the central and eastern Corn Belt. Warming back up on the backside Friday and Saturday, taking another, a shift back to this hot and dry air mass. And again, this is the norm, what you see right here as we head through the next 7 to 10 days. And why that tropical system perhaps making its way in here with some beneficial rainfall would be key across the Corn Belt. But again, with solutions taking it from here to there, simply can't promise it yet. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning Ag Forecast video, and I'll have your next Corn Belt regional update for you midday on Friday. Have a wonderful day.